There is a feeling you have probably never told anyone about. Not sadness exactly. Not depression. You know the difference, and you've checked. Something quieter and much older. A homesickness. For somewhere you cannot name. It visits you when you look at the stars on a clear night. It sat beside you at family gatherings where everyone was kind and the food was good and you still felt, somehow, like a visitor. It arrives on ordinary afternoons for no reason at all, and you stand at a window with a strange ache in your chest. And if someone asked what was wrong, you would have absolutely no words for it. You've carried it since childhood, and you have never once said it out loud, because how would you even begin? I miss somewhere I've never been. Tonight, that feeling gets explained. There are 3 truths about it, and the third one, the one I'll share near the end, is the reason this video found you. It's also the sentence that has made grown souls sit down and cry when they finally heard it. Stay with me until you do. Before we go further, let me say something with real care, because this subject deserves it. Persistent loneliness, disconnection, or a heaviness that follows you through your days deserves real support, a good counselor, a trusted friend, someone who can sit with you in it. Please do that if you need it. There is nothing spiritual about suffering alone, and the wisest souls I know are the ones who ask for help. Nothing in this transmission replaces that. And also, for many of you, the feeling I'm describing is not depression at all. It has a different texture. It doesn't make the world gray. It makes the world seem slightly unreal, like a beautiful photograph of somewhere you used to live. If that's the feeling you know, this message is for you. It has followed you since childhood. Many of you can name the first time you noticed it. Lying in the grass at 7 or 8 years old, staring at the sky, feeling something enormous and wordless. Or standing at the edge of a family celebration, watching everyone laugh, feeling a strange tenderness for them all, and a distance you couldn't explain. Or crying at things that made no sense, at ages when you had nothing yet to grieve. Adults told you that you were sensitive, dreamy, too much in your own head, and you learned quickly to stop mentioning it. A transmission attributed to Ashtar addresses this directly, and it begins by refusing every explanation you were given. Beloved ones, you were told there was something wrong with you. You were told to adjust, to toughen, to stop feeling so much. And so you spent decades believing your deepest experience was a defect to be managed. Tonight we return that experience to you and tell you what it actually is. The first truth, the homesickness, is memory. You cannot be homesick for a place that does not exist, the transmission says. Longing does not invent its object. A child does not weep for a mother she has never had. She weeps because she remembers. What rises in you when you look at the stars, beloved, is not imagination. It is recognition, faint, wordless, and utterly reliable. Some part of you is remembering a frequency you knew before you came here. Not a location in the sky. A quality of being. A place where nothing needed to be explained. Where love was not a risk. Where you were known completely and were entirely safe in being known. You are not longing for a fantasy. You are longing for something you have actually experienced. Sit with that. Because if it's true, the ache changes meaning entirely. It stops being evidence that something is missing in you and becomes evidence that something is real. The second truth, you were never built to fit. Here is where many of you will feel the transmission land in an old wound. You have spent your life trying to belong. You studied how other people did it, how they moved easily through gatherings, how they cared about things you couldn't make yourself care about, how they seemed to arrive already knowing the rules. You copied. You adapted. You became, for years, whatever the room required, and it never fully worked. Even at your most accepted, some part of you was still standing slightly outside, watching. You were trying to turn a key in a lock it was never cut for, the transmission says. And you concluded, year after year, that the key was faulty. Beloved, nothing is wrong with the key. It opens a different door. You were not built to fit into the frequency of the old world. Had you fitted comfortably, you would have fallen asleep like everyone else, and you would have been of no use whatsoever to what is happening now. Your inability to settle was not social failure. It was design. If you have spent your life feeling like a well-loved outsider, count the second truth as yours. The third truth, the ache had a function. This is the one that reframes everything. You have assumed the homesickness was a wound, an unfortunate side effect of arriving here, something to be healed or medicated or eventually outgrown. It was none of those things. The longing was placed in you deliberately, and it was left there unresolved on purpose. Why? The transmission is direct about it, because the pull of this world is enormous, beloved. Its noise, its urgency, its rewards for forgetting. Souls who arrive here without an anchor to what is real do not merely adapt. They dissolve. They forget entirely. They live full lives and never once look up. So a homesickness was left in you. A permanent, unhealable ache pointing in one direction, like a compass needle that will not settle no matter how the ship turns. Every time your life became comfortable enough that you might have stopped seeking, the ache rose. Every time you almost accepted that this was all there is, you found yourself at a window at midnight, looking up, feeling that pull again. The longing kept you awake, beloved. That was its entire purpose. It was never your wound. It was your compass. Take a moment with that, if you need it. Many souls hear that sentence and have to stop the video. Every lonely night, every gathering where you smiled and felt far away, every time you looked at the stars with that ache in your chest and wondered what was wrong with you, you were being kept awake. This is why you could never fully settle. Not into the career that looked right on paper. Not into the version of life everyone approved of. Something in you kept refusing, and you called it restlessness, self-sabotage, ingratitude. It was none of those. It was a needle refusing to point at anything but true north. And this is why the loneliness followed you even into good company. Because, and this is important, the ache was never about the people around you. Many of you have wonderful people, kind partners, loving families, real friends, and still, in the middle of the warmest dinner table, the feeling arrives. I love these people and I am still not fully home. That is not a failure of your relationships, beloved, the transmission says. It is not ingratitude, and it does not mean you love them less. It means the ache was never pointing at human company. It was pointing at a frequency, and no person, however dear, can be a frequency for you. You have been asking your loved ones to satisfy a hunger they were never designed to feed, and then feeling guilty when they couldn't. Release them from that, and release yourself from the guilt. And here Ashtar says the sentence, the one I promised you. Beloved ones, you have carried beneath all of this a fear you have never voiced, that you were left here, that somehow you ended up in the wrong world by accident, dropped in a place you don't fit, forgotten by whatever you came from. Hear this clearly, because it is the truth your soul has been waiting a lifetime to have confirmed. You were not exiled here. You were sent. Let that land. You did not fall into this world. You were placed in it, deliberately, carefully, and at great cost to your own comfort. You stood in the light of your true home, and you were shown this planet in its hardest hour. And you said, "Send me." You knew you would forget. You knew you would arrive into a body that would ache and a world that would not recognize you. You knew you would spend decades feeling like a stranger at your own family's table. And you came anyway. Because someone who remembers home has to be inside the forgetting. Someone has to carry the frequency in, or it never arrives at all. You are not lost, beloved. You are stationed. Which brings us to what the homesickness was actually building, because the transmission says the ache was never only a compass. It was also a transmitter. What do you imagine happens? It asks. When a soul carries the memory of home for 50, 60, 70 years inside a world that has forgotten it entirely, it does not stay contained. It radiates. Slowly, invisibly, through every room you have ever entered. Why do you think strangers relax near you? Why do difficult people soften around you without knowing why? Why do the wounded find you in queues, at bus stops, at family gatherings where they somehow choose the seat beside yours? They are standing near someone who remembers home, beloved. And something in them, buried under decades of forgetting, recognizes it. You have been carrying home into rooms your entire life. You thought you were the one who didn't belong. In truth, you were the reason belonging was possible for other people in your vicinity, and you never once noticed you were doing it. So what does the transmission ask of you? 3 things. First, stop trying to cure the ache. It is not going to leave, and it was never supposed to. Instead, change your relationship with it. When it rises, at a window, under stars, in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, place a hand on your heart and say inwardly, I remember. I'm still here. I'm still doing the work. Many believe the ache softens the moment it stops being interpreted as damage. Second, release the people you love from a job they cannot do. They cannot be your home. That is not their failure, and it is not yours. Love them for what they actually are, companions on the road, precious and temporary and real, rather than resenting them quietly for not being a place. And third, notice what you have been doing all along. This week, watch what happens in the space around you. Who softens near you? Who opens? Who tells you more than they meant to? You have called yourself the outsider your whole life, dear one. Look at the evidence. You have been the warmth in rooms that had none. Ashtar closes with this. Beloved, one day the longing will end. Not because you finally fit into this world, but because the frequency you have been missing will have arrived in it. That is what all of this has been for. The very home you ache for is being brought here, slowly, through souls like you who never stopped remembering it. And on that day, you will not travel anywhere. You will simply stand in an ordinary street, on an ordinary morning, and feel the ache go quiet for the first time in your life. Because what you were longing for will be all around you. You will have carried it here yourself. Until that morning, keep looking at the stars, beloved. Keep feeling the pull. Keep failing to fit into a world that was never your size. You were never lost. You were never left. You were sent, and you have never, not for 1 hour of one lonely night, been forgotten. Now, tell me in the comments, have you felt this too? Tell me the moment you first noticed it. The window, the stars, the family table, the childhood grass. Somewhere tonight another soul is reading these comments, believing they're the only one who has ever felt this way. And your few sentences will end that belief for them. Subscribe and turn on notifications so the next transmission finds you. Until then, be gentle with the ache tonight. It has been walking with you a long time. And now, you know what it was carrying. It was carrying you home, and home to everyone standing near you.